Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cal Poly Athletics. We're happy to provide an update as we hit the stretch run of this 24-25 athletic season. I'm Chris Sylvester, sitting down with the Director of Athletics here at Cal Poly, Don Oberhelman, and kind of hard to believe where we are with about a month or so left in spring sports before we kind of put the finishing touches on this athletic year. But we're going to take a look back to the winter and take a look ahead at what Cal Poly fans should be looking forward to in the next few months. Don, your thoughts on the year that's been so far and what we just saw in the winter here at Cal Poly?
Yeah, Chris, it was an unbelievable winter, especially for our basketball program, seeing the step forward that our men's basketball program got to take this year. And I think our fans that came to Mott Athletic Center and actually watched that team play in person this year, I think you saw one of the most exciting brands of basketball played in the United States, just with the way they finish at the rim. It's constant threes, it's fast-paced. It's just fun basketball for our fans to watch. And then to be able to also take just really a giant leap forward with our program, making the semifinals at the Big West tournament. I think we put the rest of the conference on notice in some ways that we're for real, because we really haven't been for real in a few years, to be honest. And I think everybody knows that. But now I think we're a force to be reckoned with in the way we finished. You know, I can't remember what 10 of our last 15 games I think we won or something like that. I'll tell you this, in the conference tournament, I would love to have played that semifinal game with the same amount of rest. Because as you know, they give buys to we try to protect the higher seeds, which I support. But that was our third game in a row. We were leading Irvine at half, and we just lost our legs. We'd played 2 games in a row, and that was our first game in a week. So I would like to try to play that game one more time and see how that shakes up. Really excited about what women's basketball is doing too. They've got a great recruiting class coming in. We've got some very talented players returning. They too got a win in the conference tournament. So I just see great things for both of those teams here in Mott.
With the men's basketball program, it was about this time last year, we sat on this very floor and talked about the possibilities and what things might look like for Mike DeGeorge in his first season. But so many firsts in a long time, like you mentioned, as many conference wins, 8 Big West victories, and clinching a spot in the conference tournament. The Big West was a terrific basketball league this year. UC Irvine reaching the NIT championship game, UC San Diego giving Michigan, a Sweet 16 team, all they could handle, 1 possession loss in the round of 64. Where do you see things going in the Big West with basketball? It seems as if the conference and the commissioner are making that a big priority. And what's the ceiling for a program like Cal Poly in the ever-changing landscape of Division I basketball?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we definitely need to be at the top of the conference, and that's our goal in all our sports, is to be first in the Big West, and that is within reach. I think we can do that. You know, we should have been a 2-bid league this year, and that would have been the first times. The last at-large team in the Big West Conference, I believe, was UNLV, if you can believe it. So it's been a long, long time, and this year we were right on the cusp of doing that. And seeing what the team that got left out, UC Irvine, did in the NIT, I think proved they were worthy of an NCAA tournament appearance. So I kind of see that being our new norm for a while. I do think that we're going to be on the cusp of getting a second team in the NCAA tournament. And of course, the big schools hate it when a smaller conference like ours steals a bid. But I think we're worthy of it, and I think we woke some people up this year as a conference with the overall quality of basketball in our league. It's on the rise for sure.
I want to go over a decision that I'd imagine was one of the tougher ones for you and for Cal Poly, cutting swimming and diving. I know that caused a lot of uproar within the department and within the university and publicly. Anytime something like that happens, it will certainly grab some attention. We've seen a lot of big-time programs have to cut sports since the pandemic 5 years ago, and obviously with this ever-changing landscape, the ongoing House settlement. Why was that decision made? How tough was that decision to make? And what are the effects of that decision here down the line?
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, I tell people it's literally the worst thing you can go through, with the exception of maybe loss of a life of a student or a staff member. It's painful. It causes anger and a lot of misdirected rage and things like that. It's an awful situation to go through, but we didn't go into it lightly. We knew exactly how this is going to go. I've had many colleagues and friends go through this process, so I relied on them a lot as we kind of made this decision. Obviously, it's not a decision I make alone or even the president makes alone. But we had our hand forced. We have financial realities here that I don't think people really fully understand what those are. We have 22 sports, which is the largest in the conference. We have more student athletes and more sports than any other school in our conference. And when you look around the Power Four conferences, we have more sports than 80% of those schools. So we're just really, really large, and we're trying to hold on. And what it's starting to do is impact that student athlete experience. And of course, why this sport and why not another sport? And there's 1,000 reasons why. We did a lot of studies on how to best do this, but basically our charge was this: 8% state cuts are coming. That is going to impact athletics. You have to find a way to do that. Probably 90% of our costs are fixed. A bus costs what it costs. The flights cost what they cost. We can trim some meals here and there and some other things, but for the most part, we have to spend these dollars. We don't have a lot of option. We have to go bus to Riverside to play a basketball game and spend that money. And then we've got the house settlement that you mentioned. That is going to cost us $550,000 a year. And that's just the first one. There are 12 more behind it that are coming that we know are going to have a dramatic impact, and it's going to have a loss of NCAA revenue towards us. So we have to start planning for that, and we have to start tightening our belts and figure out how we can function in this new reality without further cuts. We've been through this before, and we had the goal of we want to try to find a way to not eliminate sports and not lay off coaches and staff. And the last time we went through this 7 or 8 years ago, we successfully were able to do that. This time we were not. It was too many things at once coming our way, and I think we're concerned that this is just the beginning rather than the end of what these new realities are going to look like for us. So we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do, which is prepare for those realities, uncomfortable and painful as they may be. We have to make sure our sports are primed for success, and we were just too big at that point in time.
I want to wrap by talking about baseball. Top 20 RPI as we sit here today, in a good spot to get back to the postseason. Who knows? Maybe get some postseason ball here. A little too early to start talking about that, but obviously that's a facility there at Baggett that you guys have put a lot into over the last 5-10 years. There's been so many prominent alumni to come from the baseball program. And what's unique about this year's team is a lot of young guys contributing, right? I mean, we've had some big names come through the program in years past and put together some really good seasons. 35 wins last year, 37 wins. Brooks Lee, Drew Thorpe's final year, but that wasn't good enough RPI-wise to get in. Larry Lee feels like the demise of the Pac-12 has actually helped the Big West's RPI. So your thoughts in a year where finally we get a Big West baseball tournament, but it looks like this team could very well punch their ticket to the postseason without maybe having to do all that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The last 3 or 4 years, we've been right on the cusp of getting into the tournament, the NCAA tournament, and a conference tournament would have helped us. Now we have a conference tournament, and we might not need it to get into the NCAAs this year. So it's kind of a fascinating turn of events, but I'm so proud of what Larry Lee's accomplished out there this year. I mean, it's kind of akin to what we're doing in basketball. It's a fun style of baseball to watch. They're exciting. They hit the ball. We've got excellent the best starting pitching maybe we've had since I've been here in terms of 4 days a week in terms of our starters. We've got a real shot to host. It's, to your point, it's early. We've got a lot of ball ahead of us. We're getting our pencils ready to submit a bid, which is due in about a month. We'll see how we do. We'll see where our RPI is. But right now, we're definitely trending in the right, huge weekends coming up, but we're trending in the right direction. And then I look at what beach volleyball is doing. We've been nothing but top 10 for a very, very, very long time here. And we've got the conference tournament in 2 weeks and then the NCAAs after that, which I think will be a shoe-in to get an invitation to that and a legitimate chance at a national title. We finished third last year, and we have 9 of 10 starters still here from last year's team that finished third in the country. So it's really exciting. We've got track and field as well that'll give us an opportunity to maybe have a couple of more conference titles. So spring's always fun at Cal Poly because we have a lot of sports that we're very, very good in here, and I'm just so excited to see what the next month is going to hold for how those sports shake up.
Can't forget women's tennis having a terrific season. You got the new Comerford Pavilion out there. Quite a spectacle for a tennis facility in the Big West.
You know, it's unbelievable when you go to a tennis match and you see all the people that are around it. I think the facilities added a lot to that. We've always drawn a lot of interest in tennis here at Cal Poly. But the facility certainly added to that atmosphere in terms of just people walking by and seeing it, looking at it, hearing some crowd noise and go, oh, what's going on over there? Then they come in and they sit there for an hour and watch us play. They've got a shot to defend their conference championship. I'm really excited to see how they wrap things up. A couple more weeks and then the tournament for them. Again, just very, very exciting to see what they're up to.
All right, for Don Oberhelman, I'm Chris Sylvester. This has been your Cal Poly Athletics Spring Update. Stay with us as the summer nears. We'll be recapping the athletic year that was, and soon enough we'll be talking football, soccer, indoor volleyball, and all that good stuff to kick off a new athletic year. Thanks for your time, Don.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.